This is a physiological mechanism to make you calm.
That's right. People understand to just ask themselves the question, am I feeling too much agitation or am I feeling too much exhaustion? If it's too much agitation, emphasize exhales and do the physiological sigh. Yoga Nidra is also a wonderful practice that is kind of the mirror image of superoxygenation breathing. It involves long exhale breathing, lying down on your back, completely relaxing your body and learning to completely turn off thinking, which sounds hard, but you can learn how to do it very quickly if you do that practice for about 10 minutes a day.
Yeah.
It literally means yoga sleep.
And probably the most commented thing we have on the previous interview is where are the links for this Yoga Nidra stuff. So we're going to get that.
So before I leave today, I'll send. There are several, but people can go on YouTube. Some of the better ones out there, these are all cost-free. Kamini Desai has a really wonderful one that I also just happen to like her voice, so it works for me. There's a guy named Liam Gillen who has one. If you like a male Irish voice, there's that. You have to pick a voice that works for you.
Yeah.
So I'll make some suggestions, but if people don't like the particular voice that's walking them through the Yoga
Find a
Nidra,
different one,
find a different voice.
Yeah. That's cool.
So that's a practice that you can do offline, meaning not in the moment of stress, that will allow you to learn how to relax more. Then on the fatigue side, if you're in motion in the morning or in the afternoon and you need to keep going, you need to keep studying, you need to drive to the airport to pick someone up and you're exhausted, please don't drive if you're really, really exhausted, but inhale emphasized breathing. Making your inhales just a little bit longer or more vigorous than your exhales will speed up your heart rate and will make you more alert.
So deeper inhale, shorter exhale.
Yeah, so it looks something like,
that'll speed it up.
yeah. And even 2 or 3 of those, and you'll notice your heart rate will pick up because there's a neural signal from the brainstem sent to the heart to speed up the amount of blood flow.
But at the end of the day, what I'm hearing you say is you can control the mind, the body, or the mind with the mind to an extent for moments or even extended periods of time, hours maybe.
That's right.
But really, we need to be thinking the mind and the body connection at all times.
That's right.
Because if you stop breathing, if you're only doing short breaths the whole time for a whole day, it's going to affect the body and the mind. And if you're so it's using the body, using the breath, using it where it's connected to the brain to constantly support you throughout the day. But if you're just like all day, it'll help you get to a certain point, but then it'll be detrimental to your health.
Right. So these breathing practices are about shifting the gears, but they're not something that you continue doing throughout your day.
Yeah.
Really what I've described here are hardwired, meaning we were all born with these neurons and connections in our body. We were all born with these organs to be able to do these things. There's not a lot of learning involved. Once you know how to do it, it works the first time, it works every time.
Yes.
But it's sort of like shifting gears. There aren't too many manual transmissions these days, but let's say you're driving downhill, it's going too fast. If this is like taking it into a lower gear, so then you slow down. You're not going to constantly be riding the clutch, right? Or you're not going to constantly be in the shifting mode or riding the brake. Some people do that, but that's not good, right? You don't want to have to do that. Just like if you're going uphill, you might have to hit on the gas a little bit, otherwise you're not going to get up that hill. But at some point, you switch gears, and then you're just cruising up the hill,
exactly.
right? So it's a transmission system rather than you're supposed to breathe this way all day or breathe that way all day.
This is smart.
And the fast breathing followed by exhales and breath holds, the superoxygenation, Tumo, Wim Hof type breathing, I look at that as learning how to drive on a slick pavement. You know, it's self-induced stress. It's like taking your car to a parking lot. You know, when a kid's learning to drive, I was teaching a kid to drive recently. You teach them to drive, you go through the neighborhood, you do things, but when you really want to learn how to, for instance, drive through puddles, or drive in fog, or drive in heavy rain, you kind of want to be in a parking lot or a safe environment for that. You don't want to be on on the Autobahn, right? So these are ways in which you can teach yourself how to navigate the bad weather of the nervous system.
So you're prepared for when it comes.
That's right. Yeah. And I have to say, from personal experience and from some emerging data, when I say emerging data, I mean studies in my lab and other labs that are still ongoing, it does appear that when people self-induce this stress, it can be beneficial. I'm going to quote a colleague of mine, my colleague David Spiegel, who's our associate chair of psychiatry, says, it's not just about the state that you're in, the state of mind that you're in, it's how you got there and whether or not you had anything to do with it. So when you self-induce stress, and then you say, oh, I can calm my mind even though my body is feeling agitated, that's a very positive experience for many people. Whereas when someone else is causing your stress and you're trying to calm down, it feels like you're battling 25 different things.
Yeah.
So these are skills that anyone can develop. And they are skills that essentially require information of what to do, but zero training. I mean, it's like, I'm sure you played football, I didn't. You can I'm certain you can throw a football way better than I can. That took some learning.
Yeah.
It would take me a long time, maybe forever, to be able to try and approximate that skill level. But these are things that we can all do right away.
Yeah.
And so now I think we've kind of spelled out two tools on either side. Physiological size for calming down in real time. Exhale, emphasize breathing of the yoga nidra sort, maybe even doing yoga nidra 10 to 20 or 30 minutes a couple times a week, daily if you want, to teach your nervous system to calm down. And then also having tools that emphasize inhales, so longer, more vigorous inhales, or doing an offline practice of some point during your day, you decide I'm gonna do 5 or 10 minutes of this more rapid breathing followed by some breath holds.
Yeah.
And provided those are designated safe for you, the super oxygenated breathing you decide is safe for you, I'm not aware of any dangers of the exhale emphasized breathing at all, but people should always approach any new thing with caution, of course. But once you have those 4 tools in hand, you've really learned how to press on the accelerator, so that's inhaling more than you exhale. You've learned how to drive faster, be comfortable at higher speeds. That's kind of like the Wim Hof type breathing. You're comfortable at high speeds. It's like, oh, I can drive 65 and feel calm. I'm good here, whereas previously you couldn't. As well as learning how to slow down with the physiological side, that's sort of a break. And then the yoga nidra is sort of like coming off the accelerator to slow down.
Yeah.
You're just turning off your system. The beauty of having these different tools and practicing them now and again is that there's this other phenomenon, which is neuroplasticity, which is that then you start doing it reflexively without even realizing it. You start doing physiological sighs when you're too stressed. But automatically, and even before you start to hit the alertness threshold, where people just start to engage these things. And so
it's kind of like when you see a dog who's just tired, it automatically does this sigh when it's like panting, and it'll do like a big sigh, and then it's like almost like it's relaxed.
That's right.
And it's just like it goes to sleep.
That's right.
I see this with my dog all the time. It's like running around panting, and then it's just like.
Exactly. And that little extra inhale, I know we've talked a lot about this before, but I don't think we can overemphasize the power of the physiological sigh, because that little extra inhale is what opens up those little sacs in the lungs just a little bit more, and that when you exhale, it pulls a lot more carbon dioxide out of the system.
Which, when you pull carbon dioxide out of the system, what does that do?
You feel calm.
Wow. There you go.
You feel calm. In fact,
so it's a physiological mechanism to make you calm.
That's right. And in fact, in claustrophobic environments, or God forbid, if you're drowning, the reason you're stressed is because you have neurons in your brainstem that sense carbon dioxide in the bloodstream, and as that goes up, it says you need to find air. You need to offload this carbon dioxide.
Oh man!
So these are all real physiological mechanisms that are really about balancing the oxygen and carbon dioxide in your system. And when we see these really extreme feats of breath holds and people doing all these really wild things, usually it's because they're learning to manipulate the oxygen carbon dioxide packing or ratios, or how they manage them. Free divers get very good at this. There's air packing. There's all sorts of dangerous stuff that should only really be done by highly trained, highly skilled people. But once people have these tools in hand, they can start coupling to the tools that involve the mind. I mean, it's fine to do a physiological sigh and to tell yourself to calm down. We're not saying don't think or be mindless.
Right.
But what we're saying is it's powerful to look to these mechanics of the body-mind relationship. And you said the body and the mind are connected. It's really a two-way street. The mind controls the body controls the mind. It's a loop. I just think of it like a loop. I don't even think of it as one controlling the other. It's just if one of those things is out of whack, you need to control the other one. Right? You're not going to try and just think about trying to control your mind, and again, is like grabbing at fog or at smoke. It just moves away. So that most of the time.